Not that it's a big crowd out there, but we'll make it, even if we're recording it. So, first on the agenda is approval of the minutes from April 18th meeting. We got those, I think, here. So, need a... This? Oh, I'm sorry. I do have one comment or correction there. My name is misspelled and down in the old business. Got it right in the member list, but that's not the first time that's happened, so I don't know. So, we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as corrected.
Well, I wasn't here, but I can.
Motion approved.
All right.
The necessary correction.
Yeah. You got a second there, Mr. Kit, then? You want to second it? All right, Mr. Kit, second. So all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, next on the agenda would be approval of the 2024 comprehensive plan. I assume since Mr. Gardner's here, he's going to give us an update.
We've gone through all of the individual components with the planning commission and 4 or 5 public meetings. And then, we've done the surveys that have been on the website for, I think we closed them a couple weeks ago when we finally put this to the drafter to put it in, get it prettied up and get it ready for council. And so the final draft's been posted on the website now for a couple weeks. And then all the individual items, all the individual guidance documents right there with the old plan. So yeah, John's going to come and just give a quick overview of what we've pulled together and kind of talk about, I think, a little bit about what, now that we'll send it to council. Thank you, Rick. Thanks. John, here, you want to carry this? Sure.
All right, well, I'm glad to be here again today to talk to you about the comprehensive plan. I'm going to stand as far to the side as I can and try to speak into the mic for you. We've done a number of presentations here, covered all the different chapters of the plan in it. It might work better now than if I stand on the other side, huh? We've got such a big audience.
Video can pick up the screen now.
Right. So I'm just going to go through real quickly. As Richard said, we've had several public meetings. I've gone to a couple of community events and had good conversations with people. I feel like we've talked to a lot of the stakeholders and a lot of the engaged citizens during the course of the process, and we've gotten feedback through several other methods and had all the draft elements of the plan on the county website, excuse me, from the time that we started. 10 elements. By now, probably y'all know what those are: population, housing, land use. And I'm afraid I'm going to fight this thing because I think I put it on automatic timer to kind of keep me from talking for too long. I'm not going to read all of those words to you, but there are 10 elements that we've gone through that are required in the state comprehensive planning enabling act. One of the key background issues is that population has been declining significantly through the years. That the bright red bar is 2000, the yellow bar is 2010, and then the dull brownish bar is 2020. So had a small decline in the last 10 years in white population, larger decline in black population, and some increase in multi-race Hispanic population. I'm not going to belabor this. Even though population is down, you do have more houses occupied, fewer people per household, fewer kids, more single occupant households. And again, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn the automatic timings off here. We developed a existing land use inventory that the green is agricultural land in this. Use that as a basis for the future land use map, and I've done something here. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to turn these timings off. Okay. So this is a future land use map that we developed and had lots of opportunity for input. And again, the green areas, the dark green areas are actually protected by conservation easement or our public land that's protected. And then the light green areas are agricultural. The sort of tan areas are what we've identified as rural neighborhood, rural residential areas. And then there's some orange on here that is identified as suitable for suburban development and has existing suburban scale and density development in it. And cultural and historic resources, you do have lots of history here, and you got lots of historic structures and sites for a county of this population at least. There's some tourism development opportunities that you could leverage there to try to attract a little more tourism, which would help support more local businesses, restaurants, stores, retailers. Couple of things that could be done would be to work on some sort of self-guided tours for folks who are interested. Historic tourism is an increasingly big deal these days. Interpretive programs, you have a number of those already through the museum, and some wayfinding signs around the county would help, particularly for things like the museum and cultural center. It's sort of on, off the beaten path back there on Butler Street, and you just don't really, I'm not sure people know that it's there as they drive through the town. Lots of natural resources here, very productive farmlands, and a big important part of your economy is the agricultural production here. One of the 2 counties in South Carolina, or maybe 3, I guess, that are adjacent to a national park. Congaree National Park really is a real treasure as far as natural resources. And DNR has recognized that and identified this whole Kawasi Basin, the Congaree Wateree Santee Basin, as a real important natural resource for habitat and diversity of species. Resilience is really about recovering from disaster. You've got hurricane evacuation routes through here. They're one of the big issues that I heard a lot from people in terms of transportation needs and other concerns about public safety. And there are some systemic issues here. Some flooding, not a lot, but some. Wildfire is an issue. A lot of it is associated with the highways and a lot of it from cigarettes thrown out of cars. Some groundwater issues in the central part of the county where you've got a lot of center pivot irrigation systems that are withdrawing a lot of water, and drought conditions could become an issue with the levels of water in the groundwater aquifer. And economic change has been a big thing here. If you lose industries or lose commerce, those are the things that a good plan helps you weather and recover from well. Transportation needs, the 3 big ones were evacuation, traffic, and safety that we focused on. There's not a lot of congestion, and when the I-26 widening is finished, that's the biggest part of that congestion will go away. One of the big issues right now is traffic diverting off of I-26 and coming up 21 and 176 to get around stalled traffic. And then economic development things that you can do. One of the things we've suggested is just find some money for streetscaping improvements here in St. Matthews, continue what's already been done, which is quite nice here around the courthouse, and look at some improvements in Cameron. This is the map from the plan that just shows highway improvements. The stars are intersection improvements, and then the lines are other, widening or safety improvements in those corridors. Again, I'm not going to go through every one of those. Community facilities, your key things were maintenance improvements and improvement of the water system. You do have a aging rural water system, and there's some opportunities for some expansion of the Lake Marion water system mains towards St. Matthews that could help support economic development. Sewer capacity expansion, there's very little sewer, and some minor expansion of the system here in St. Matthews could help support some growth around the perimeter of the town. It would require a significant amount of engineering analysis to determine what would work best and how much capacity you could add with the methods that are used now to treat it. But those really are important also to support more industrial recruitment. On the economic development area, this county's been quite successful recruiting new manufacturing industries. You've had expansions of Zeus, number of others. I think there's an opportunity to develop and promote tourism and retail sort of hand in hand. If your population is not growing internally, one way to support your local businesses is to attract more tourism. And there's some strategies in the plan for how to start moving in that direction. And obviously, agriculture is your big economic driver here, for lack of a better word. So continuing to diversify that agricultural economy. You've got some processing operations here with nuts and seeds and peanuts, and all those things are good. Would be good to expand those further. Look for more retail opportunities for those agricultural operations to do more direct selling, like is it Golden Kernel? Golden Kernel does with the little retail store. Those are just value-added things that help the economy and the business and to thrive. So basically, the back end of the plan is looking at all the other elements of the plan and prioritizing where your investments should be going. And we're suggesting that those investments in all the different functional things that the county does should be focused towards economic development, public safety, community vitality and appearance, to build local businesses and provide a better looking environment wherever you can. And then tourism, hospitality, and retail development. Those are not going to be huge here, but you're way underserved with them right now. You have very few, if any, accommodations other than maybe a few bed and breakfasts and B&Bs and some stuff down on Lake Marion. You're badly underrepresented in retail. Haven't done a real thorough analysis of that, but you have one grocery store and most people are going to Orangeburg and Columbia to do all their big shopping. So you're losing tax revenue through that, but you're also losing the opportunity to build jobs and retain income here. So part of that prioritization of what do you do, and where do you do it, this is the where you do it part, and we identified sort of 5 nodes that should be the focus of investment in the community. The area to the north around Sandy Run and the industrial parks obviously is important. Good, all right, do you like it there? Good school? It's community, that's public engagement, man. The 2 interchanges on I-26 are some opportunities for development, and I think the community's going to have some discussion about what works best there, because that will inevitably become, there'll be pressure for development at those locations ultimately, around St. Matthews and then at the Lake Marion area where there's significant growth already. Didn't want to take too long. Be glad to take any questions or comments, respond to anything from the audience. But I'll turn it back to Richard for now.
There you go. Like I said, there's not a lot of new information here, or really no new information from what has been presented over the last, I guess, 8 months now.
Oh, it's been
9 months.
2 years.
Yeah, since we've really been working on it, but really in the engagement part, I guess closer to a year. So, got any comments? I know you guys all got the, should have all received your hard copy. You know, the next steps would make a recommendation to council to move forward, and then council adopts it. Probably the bigger picture for this group going forward and the lower part of the county, Sandy Run's already been done, but the lower part of the county, this is, once we finish this, we'll do some other housekeeping things over the next couple months, and then we'll be kicking off looking at starting to look at a more realistic zoning on the rest of the county, to carry on what was done up in Sandy Run in 19 to 21. So this is kind of the groundwork. As you guys know, it's a plan, it's a document, it's a guidance document. I think we've done pretty well getting input. Got the schools involved, got comments back from DOT. Actually had council come to a couple meetings for the input. I do want to say, especially since he's sitting in the office, Mr. Watkins was very helpful in the natural resources section. Actually did quite a bit of work revising and submitting comments on that. We do appreciate that a lot. Really brought a wealth of knowledge to that. We were able to get our historic commission, Debbie Rowland, before she retired, met with John and got a bunch of information, and then got some more information from Jeremy after she had retired and revising it. So I think we've done pretty well. As John mentioned, he was at the Purple Martin Festival. You were at the Sandy Run Chili Cook-Off. Had, I guess, probably 8 public engagements over the course of this, something like that, 8 or 9. So I think we've done pretty well in the public engagement part, even if it isn't always as many people here as we'd like to see. But yes, ma'am.
How many responses did you get from the public to the Survey Monkey survey? I'd just like to know how many people responded to that.
I'd hate to give you a number, more than 500, less than 1,000.
Okay, will you tell me?
I can, yep, I can get you that information. Yep,
There's a summary of responses.
yep, in the plan.
But, and I have another question. Was the monkey survey only done online for, the responses? Was there anything, done publicly or on paper where people could complete the survey?
Yeah, we actually had it on the website where you could email requests for it. We gave out lots of pre-printed. I got maybe, I'd say less than 10 that were written on paper. It was an option, yep. Yep,
We entered those into the Survey Monkey.
yep,
Good, thank you for that. That's all I have. Thank you.
sure. Are there any other questions, gentlemen? It's ready for you.
How often does this process occur?
So we do a full review every 10 years. We do a review and potential update every 5 years. Typically, a county like ours is not seeing radical changes such that you need to do a lot of work at the 5-year interval. Most of the time, it's usually just, hey, is there anything that's been a problem that we need to address? The comp plan, especially the maps, like the land use map, lays under the zoning layer map, and they are intended to work together. It's a living, breathing document. If it needs to be edited, it can be edited. If things change, typically with a comp plan, to see a major rewrite in between, you either have a massive new industry come, or you lose an industry, or say DOT decides to cut a new interstate through your community, something like that. For the most part, other than that, it's just gradual updates. One thing that does sometimes get missed is that the zoning ordinance, zoning changes can sometimes cause you to have to update the comp plan. It's not something that I've typically seen as much at a county level, something more in a city level where you've had zoning for so much longer, that sometimes a zoning change requires, a change to the comp plan land use map at the same time. It's typically not something that we see at a county level.
So we'd be looking at going through this process again in 2034?
Yes, yep. 5 years, we'll do a review, potentially have public meeting or two. Has anybody, got anything? Really, the planning commission, ideally, how you find out that there's problems is usually in accelerated requests. When you're getting 10, 15 requests at a time, which is something that I don't ever anticipate us seeing. But if you were continually seeing something time and time again, that's something's changed, the makeup of an area has changed, gone from, residential to heavy commercial or something that requires that to be changed. You can do that as you go along, or you can address that in a 5-year update.
All right, well, I thank Mr. Gardner for all your hard work and
Absolutely. He's been
everybody else and staff and all our
John's been a big
community
help.
members that have pitched in. Appreciate that. I guess we need approval on this plan as presented tonight, if we still have one.
Nah, I made a motion, we send this to council with a recommendation to adopt.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carried. Don't look like we got anything else on the agenda, do we?
No, sir. I will say that, we have one new planning commission member that'll, already appointed, that'll need to get there 6 hours. Josh, you won't have to do, you're continuing it this year because you just did your 6 hours, so you don't have to do it again until next year. We'll probably have a 3-hour continuing ed opportunity here in the building for both the planning commission and the BZA. But then also, with the new stuff now, you'll be able to do it online. So if you choose to do it online, now they've updated it to where you don't even need a proctor anymore. With your individual username and login on the Association of Counties, you can do your 3 hours, you get a certificate, and you can just email it to us. But for those that want to come in person, we'll offer that in person, and we'll probably be looking at sending that stuff out towards the end of the year. We'll give you an option. We'll send an email and a letter giving you an option, showing you, telling you how to do it online, or setting the date for coming here.
Sounds good.
That's all I've got.
All right, we need a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all again.